Hello, we're going to make a video today, and this video will demonstrate how you can run the Cadence nclaunch program for the spring 2022 semester for the ECE 201 Computer Architecture course at Lehigh University. Now remember, everything we're going to do, you either need to be on the Lehigh network or be connected to the Lehigh VPN. The machines and websites, etc., that we'll be looking at are all behind the Lehigh firewall. So therefore, you need to be on the Lehigh network. Now, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up this is a screen from the ECE X2Go gateway machine, and that's what we're going to use in this demonstration. I've already connected to the X2Go session on the ECE Teaching Lab Linux X2Go gateway machine. We are using X2Go because of the frame buffering the X2Go software uses. And this will make getting graphics back to your device much faster, especially if you're connecting with a device from off campus using the VPN. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to get a terminal session started, and we'll do that by coming up and clicking on the applications, and I'm going to come down here to System Tools, and I'm going to come down here to excuse me, I'm going to click the terminal. And now you could also use the Mate terminal or the XFCE terminal. They'll both be fine. I just prefer the GNOME terminal. The other thing I'm going to do, if you haven't already done it, I'm going to do a right click on terminal instead of a left click, and I'm going to add this launcher to the desktop. And that way in the future, if I ever want to just get the terminal, I don't have to go through the menus. Okay? So, but I'm going through the menus this time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on terminal. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to make that text a little bit bigger so it's easier to see for me and for you on the video. So I'm going to hold down the Control and the Shift key, and I'm going to hit the plus sign a couple of times. And that'll make the text a little bit bigger. Now we're on the X2Go server, the ECE X2Go server. The ECE X2Go server does one thing, and it does it very well, and that is funnel the graphics back to your device using the frame buffering, and it's pretty quick. What the X2Go's gateway machine cannot do is it cannot run any production type of operations. So what we need to do is we need to go over to a machine that will be able to run those types of operations. So what we need to do is I'm going to bring up a web browser and show you how to find the machines that you want to use. So we're going to open a web browser, and let me see if I can make that text a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's a little bit better. So we're on the ECE Teaching Lab website. That's eceteachinglabs.cc.lehigh.edu. And again, you have to be connected to the VPN or on the Lehigh network to see this website. Come down to the tab Computing and go to the item on the drop-down called Teaching Lab Linux Platform. Click on that. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see these machines that are CentOS 6 machines. Ignore them. They're going to be upgraded in the near future. But where you see CentOS 7 servers, these are the machines where you're going to be able to run your Cadence nclaunch program. Now I have to update this. The ECE Server 04, that one's good and running. 7, 10, and 13 as of the time of this video are down, but you go ahead and try and connect to them, and the worst thing that'll happen is it'll say they're not available. I'm working on getting them up as soon as possible. So machines ECE Server 01 through ECE Server 14, barring the ones that are down, you can log into and you can run the nclaunch application. Okay. So now we'll go back into the We'll go back into the X2Go desktop where we've opened a terminal. Now we're going to go over to a machine. We'll pick out a machine. We'll just use server 4 to go ahead and demonstrate running the nclaunch program. So we do that by typing SSH, yeah, there we go. And this is the secure shell program. So we're going to, and then so SSH dash capital X. The capital X tunnels the graphics back from the machine that you'll be working on through this machine, and then you'll pick it up from X2Go using the frame buffering. So you need that capital X to get your graphics back. And then what you'll do is you'll type a dash little L, and what that means is the next thing you're going to type is going to be your login ID. I'm using a dummy ID called ECE201 that I set up for this course, and actually I guess it's called a demo ID, not dummy ID. So it's ECE201. You'll type in an ID that you got on the email that most likely will be an ID that matches your university ID. And then we'll type in the machine name, and so that'll be ECE-server 04.cc.lehigh.edu. Now, following this video, feel free to use ECE-server 04. However, you may not always want to go there, because what often happens is people watch the video and they always go to server 04, and that machine starts to get slow. Pick some other machines, randomly when you log in, excuse me, to do your work on. And that'll help out in terms of balancing the load. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And so what you see here is what happens when you log into a machine for the first time with a particular user ID machine combination. You're going to get a message back saying that what this basically says is, I want to do encryption, but you don't have the public half of the encryption key. Can I give you the public half of the encryption key? And the answer to that is obviously, if you want to continue working, yes. Okay, and then you're going to type the password in that you received in the email, or if you ever reset your password, that password. Okay. And as I type my password in, and sometimes it can take a little bit for that $ prompt to come back. This will be instructive. It can take up to 60 seconds depending on what's happening on the network for the authentication to actually take place and the various network drives to get mounted. Sometimes it comes back like really quick, and sometimes it takes a second. There we go. Now, to start the nclaunch program, basically what you're going to do is you're just going to type the following command: nclaunch -152. You're running version 15.2.sh, and there's a special environment launch script that you have access to, and then you hit enter. And what happens the very first time you run it, it's going to pop up and it's going to give you some options as to how you want to run it, or do you want to get help, or do you just want to bail and exit. We're going to go ahead and click on multiple step, and don't worry if you select the wrong thing, because from inside these menu options you can change to different modes, like you saw in the very beginning screen. Okay, so now you see how to launch the nclaunch program. That's all there is to it. And then your TA and your professor will give you a lot more information on how to run this, and they'll help you to learn how to make this program sing and dance and do some magical things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to gracefully exit the program. What you want to do after you use the program is gracefully exit the program and exit the systems. And that will help to keep applications from hanging, and it will make you more productive, because you won't be trying to, if you go in and try and run the nclaunch and for some reason it's not starting up, it's probably because of a hanging program somewhere. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll click File and Exit. That gracefully exited you out of the nclaunch program. Now you'll notice over here on your command prompt screen, you don't have a $. That often happens when you have Xgraphics windows, and to get your $ prompt back, you're going to hold down Control and then simultaneously hit C, and that'll drop you back to a $ prompt. To exit out of the ECE-server 4 machine in the bash shell session that you're running, you can type exit. And that's going to drop you back to the ECE X2Go bash shell session that you're running. So you can type exit again, and that will drop you back to the desktop. So in order to log out of the ECE X2Go session, which I highly recommend, and we're running the Make desktop here, go ahead and click on System, and then log out of your ID. You can't shut the machine down. You could hit shutdown, but I'd recommend using logout ECE 201, and that'll exit you gracefully. So we'll do that. Now it says it's going to log out in 60 seconds, or you can just click the little button, log out, and it will log you out right away. I always just hit the little log out button. Okay, and that's all there is to it. You now know how to log in, start an nclaunch session, and then gracefully shut your machine down. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.